A very good evening to everyone. This is Azeeza Jalaludeen. I'm the co-founder for Shine 88, Self-Help International Network Enterprise. Again, my name is Azeeza Jalaludeen, and I am here Malaysia. Today I just traveled and I'm from Singapore, and now we have traveled to Malaysia for a short business trip. And while on the trip, I'm here speaking with my dear brother Riyaz, who is joining me in the call on this topic on let's shine together. And in Shine, we always believe in collaboration. He is the founder of Reliable News Network, and he is the founder of Reliable News Network, and at the same time, he is also an international affairs journalist. Welcome, Muhammed Riyaz.
Hello, hello to everyone.
So once again, being in the call, thank you so much for joining us on this call. Today's part two, we're going to be discussing about where does peace begin. So this topic on the normal notion. So everybody's going to say is peace starts from within. So in order for us to even recognize that, even before we go into why we say that or why would we want to conclude in that way, we also want to explore where is it that we feel the chaos is happening and what is the chaos that's happening right now
Okay,
around the world. Do you want to share with us when it comes to chaos and confusion? Where do you
yeah.
think is the where is it reflected most of the time? And what do you feel about that?
The- To start with the cause, I mean, we all have, you know, issues called, professionally speaking, called personal baggage. Now, when due to that personal baggage, we ourselves are most of the time in conflict with peace. So, when our internal peace is disturbed, we cannot spread peace to outsiders or outside us. That is one root cause. Due to that, and also there is an additional factor, which creates chaos, is the intolerant feeling. Intolerance feeling which we have, which we most of the time keep up with strangers or people who speak with the people who are in who is accustomed to strange civilizations or cultures. So due to that intolerant tolerance, most of the time chaos spreads, and it is due to that violence is also most of the time unexpectedly or it get propagates. So it is almost the same in the case of individuals or regions or intolerance between different cultures or nations. So due to a small unchanging concept which people hold on to, that is intolerance, it spread like wildfire from, it can be from an individual or it can be a nation or it can spread globally. So this is what I feel the main reason for chaos, apart from uh, having internal peace.
What I'm hearing is Are you there? We're not able
I
to
think
hear
I think
you.
I think there is a signal issue.
Okay, probably there's an internal lag in and we are looking at intolerance. I think you brought up a very, very powerful word. Intolerance. Intolerance to whatever that happens outside of us. And
Yeah,
most of the time it comes in the form of, it could be religious, it could be, we are not a political party, we are not into any kind of religious conversation here, as you said before. This
yeah,
conversation is purely to identify what's working and what's not working and how we can support in
right.
moving forward in creating that clarity for humanity. So
Yes.
this is our contribution in that sense. So when we look at intolerance in that space, what kind of um, you know scenarios happen that triggers intolerance? Maybe we can explore that because other than looking at the normal political scene or whatever violence is going out there, which is always in the media.
Yeah.
Let's get closer to family. Like I'm a businesswoman, and we have a lot of friends who are professionals who are watching programs. How does intolerance come up in our life when we are in our day-to-day life?
Well, uh, so the main bonding will happen between business people or humans or whoever it is due to uh, non-effective communication. If communication is clear, then there will be. I mean, then we try to, you know uh, we can understand the ideas of other people, and we will become tolerant. I think due to ineffective communication, most of the time people don't understand what exactly the other person intends to, and due to that, intolerance uh, is spread. And also, there is no there is there is less patience spread over in the modern world due to the various activities which people are involved and getting busy with. People have forgotten the root of life, or how to enjoy life with love and peace. There is two aspects of life: spiritualism and materialism. Both of these factors are necessary for people, but it should be in a balanced level. If there is any of these, if it is more than the other in any individual or a group or a culture or a nation, then intolerance kind of chaotic situations arises. So this is what I feel about. I have to say about this.
You have brought up a very relevant scenario in the fast-paced world. I
Yeah,
just finished a conversation, a meetup with a group of really, really learned people who are mentors, who are, global trainers and all of that. So when we were in the conversation, what came up was they don't have patience to listen in. It's like you have to give me what I need to know right now.
yeah,
So there is no attempt to understand. It's like it is in my mind, I have programmed it in certain way, and this is how I'm going to fix it. And any new information must come in a way that fits into my box, not
correct.
something out of my box. So that kind of a scenario is such a common phenomenon.
Yes,
Some words we were trying to introduce to the platform, and they say that these words are not new, are not known words. you cannot use words that's not known to the common man, then you're going to delay the market growth and all of this. But think about it. When the word Google was first introduced, does anybody know Google? Did Google
No.
say no? It's not a known word to the common man. We will not use it.
Yes.
They didn't do that. So everything
Correct.
had a beginning. Everyone had a start. So if we, as a human being, and so the chaos part comes in when we box ourselves. We say that, okay, this is my learning, my experience, and this is how I'm going to view the world. Don't you dare try to change how I see things. And I'm not willing to change, or I don't want to look at things in a different perspective. You fit into my box and make me understand. So this is
Yeah.
an interesting scenario. So if let's say, and I feel that any conversation, be it this, I mean, that scenario I went through, but any kind of conversation, be it in family, in relationships, in business world, or even in the professional world, if we can look at things in a way where we come with an open mind and an open box. There's no box. In fact, there's no need for any box.
Right.
We can do it from that perspective. Anything that people give us, they will know where to put them. Like, where does this information fit into my life? So normally when people give me information, I always process it this way. Maybe that's why people find me very weird. It's like, how can you process so many things at one time? So I process it this way. Can I share with you how I process it?
Please go ahead.
Yeah. So you are similar to the way that I can do things, because there's like a lot of things that we do. So when I say how I'm processing, maybe you recognize it, because probably that's the way you process it too. It's like when people give me information, I will look at what that information or where it can fit in my life. That's all. I'm
Yeah.
not complicating things. I will just look at the information and process it in family or whoever. In that way, I don't confront them. I'm like, how does that information add value to me? So then I become an open book, right? Then I can collaborate with people. I can look at opportunities in a whole new different dimension. So there's
Right.
no chaos in my mind, or worry in my mind, or a box that stops me from, hey, that information is new and I don't want to process it because it's not belonging to my mind or whatever. So what do you think about that?
Yeah. What you say is exactly correct. Like when there are, see, there is so the modern world or people are having this issue called information overload, because as you said about Google, I am using that Google search itself as a factor, which is which is providing fingertip information to on any issues to all the people. So what happens is there is lots of information which is we are going through every day through internet or through newspapers or through TV. So we are getting into a confusion situation, like what to choose and what not to choose. But if we keep the fact that we have to uh, we take it as a you know as a system, like whatever be the information, what is it is useful for us in life as well as in uh, spreading peace and love for others, then there is no confusion or chaos. So in that way, the method you are adopted, you adopt is very effective. In that way, we can stay uh, strong and steady with the information which we are overcoming every day in our day-to-day life, as well as in career, as well as in business.
So then the topic of what we are talking today, like when we speak about where does peace begin. So people will say, I think some people say it begins with the nation. The nation must be able to maintain peace for everyone, and then it comes to the family, they will say, we must maintain peace in family so that it can relate to the community. Or people will say community, let the peace be at the community. And then there's a whole group of spiritual people who say the peace begins with me.
Yeah,
So shall we have a little bit on that topic? Because as much as we say peace begins with me, a whole bunch of people will be out there saying that that's not true because that's not their reality box. Because most of the time, the word peace people feel is not in their control. Right now, if we talk about the overall world economy, we're
yeah,
looking at, I mean, like wherever the war is, it's like that piece is in somebody else's hand. I mean, last week when we spoke about how you beautifully phrased it, it really touched me. Coming from Singapore, being in one of the most safest country in the world, and I'm like, when you spoke about it, I was so emotional because you spoke about how we need to reflect, and really, really, it hit me so strong. We're talking about the most peaceful place in the world where a woman can walk anytime midnight in the city and still be safe. From Malaysia, she walked in. I came into Singapore at 12 a.m. and she said, I would never walk this way in Malaysia. So this is something that we really enjoy in Singapore and sometimes take it for granted. So when you shared with
yeah,
me last week, it really, really hit me, and I felt like, yeah, this is the mission that we are on, where we can, what can we do coming from safe space to really recognize this work that is all this chaos is created. So when we look at those countries where there is war everywhere, and my heart goes out to everyone, I feel that there's a huge responsibility for the rest of us to hold the space for peace. Because that now there they are saying that that peace is not in their hand. That peace belongs to this person or that person, this country, whatever, right? So let's look at that perspective. So where does peace start? What do you think?
okay. Uh, see, see, everybody, most of the time we say that peace begins with ourselves, but again, we try to find out peace somewhere else. When you I'm coming to the point which we discussed last week. Before that, I just want to uh, tell a story about the musk deer, which I learned in school. I mean, I don't know, I mean, whether you have heard about it. The musk deer searches for the scent emanating from its belly all over the place which it roams, but it doesn't understand the scent comes from its own belly. So like that, peace is already there in our genes, in our it is genetically coded in our hearts. But yet we always try to find out a leader or a role model who spread peace. Instead of taking ourselves an initiative, we always look outside for an answer. So that is the main reason where you know uh, people cannot understand more about peace, because they are shutting themselves. They are not thinking from a larger perspective. So what happens is, due to that, they search for a role model or a leader for peace. So when we ourselves are peace with ourselves, when we forgive, for peace, essentially forgiveness is very, very important. So we have to forgive ourselves whatever drawbacks or setbacks which has happened in life, and we gain peace, and then we can practice what we feel. So coming back to the question of how we can spread peace in conflict regions. See, nowadays media, and there are lots of associations who strive hard in the conflict zone, but most of them, some of them may be associated with any organizations or governments which has an agenda. So apart from that, as a normal human being who wishes peace to prevail all over the world, we can have group prayers in every country to stop the violence in various regions in the world. It is happening for almost like 50 years or 60 years. If you take the history of last 60 years, almost the major conflicts in the world has started almost during the 1950s or the 1940s. So right thinking people like us should join hands with people from our region as well as other nations in group prayers, and as well as registering our wish for peace through various campaigns, peaceful campaigns, and take it to the decision making people in those regions. I think that would be a big boost for the world peace. Apart from that, we should not have the attitude of seeing the world and the area region which we are living as something which is not interconnected. The whole world is interconnected right now more than what it was 100 years ago or 1000 years ago. So whatever good or bad happens in one part of the world, it is directly or indirectly affecting each individual. It can be proven through facts and figures, which we can do it in the next session. I can come out with some examples where a a issue which may arise from a small region in the world is the reason for spreading so much chaos in other parts of the world. Like that, there are many issues which I can give you with examples for in the next session. So we should not never think like something happening in some an island, even in an island, is not going to bother us because it's all interconnected and we are getting affected. That is the that is how we are well interconnected now. We say we no more say east or west. It is like a global village. They say the world has become like a one. I mean, a very it's very what do you call it? A small place. The technology and the information and the methods and the activities which is going on around the world from peace lovers as well as various organizations has made it like that. And people like us, I mean, risk their own personal happiness and time and money and sweat for peace to peace and love to spread in the world all over. So so this is what to start with. We have to silently include the people in the conflict regions in our prayers. We can start with this. And there are so many activities which I can list out in the next session.
Thank you so much, Riaz. When you talk about what a person can do, for peace, and I'm talking about safety and peace, I also would love to, one of these sessions highlight a lot about what's happening and how peace is seen in India, and how our late Minister Mentor Lee Kuan Yew, showed the path on how he took the country in a momentum that's never been, not been done in anywhere in the world, which is a very interesting concept, the concept of doing it as a business and having a motive of self in the picture. Can you look at it when it's actually very, very empowering and very, very, when you look at it on our individual self. If I make peace my selfish reason, I will act in a way that, everything else is peaceful, starting from me, so that I don't have chaos in my life. So it becomes my responsibility. So, and also we do, like when you say prayers, you said prayers, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, that reminds me also of Ho'oponopono, one of the most powerful prayers that I have also seen happening right now. We can Google that. It's a very powerful space of being where if we are coming across such information, it's actually a record in our mind or a data in our mind that needs clearing. That's why people show up. That's why circumstances show up. So we can take responsibility what's showing up in our life, and we work on it to clear it, like as a prayer by saying, "I'm sorry to for the situation. Please forgive me." And for creating that situation, and I love you because the information came out. This is not to say to anyone, it's not to tell anyone else, "I'm sorry, please forgive me."
Right. Hello. Hello. Due to some technical error, today's session is getting close now. I thank you for everybody who has patiently listened to me and listened to Azeeza Jalaludeen. We'll see you next week during 2 p.m. GMT time or 8 p.m. Indian time and 10:30 p.m. Singapore time. Thank you.